Imagine your entire life hanging on a piece of plastic with the heat resistance of a McDonald's straw. Well, that happened, and it took down an airplane. All right, guys, today we've got a story that honestly kind of blows my mind, and it perfectly illustrates why Vision Miner even exists. So basically, a 69-year-old pilot with over 2,400 flight hours crashed his aircraft on final approach because a single 3D printed part collapsed inside his engine bay. And the reason this happened is exactly what we've been preaching for years. So here's the official summary from the AAIB investigation in the UK. A small aircraft was coming into land at an airport in England. The pilot was about 500 feet in the air, and he pushed the throttle a little bit to make it go faster, but the engine didn't work at all. It just completely stopped. He barely made it over a road and some bushes, but he didn't make it to the runway. He hit an antenna tower near the runway, smashing into the ground, and got completely wrecked. The pictures in the report show the plane, well, not in working condition. Investigators opened up the engine bay and immediately found the problem. There was a 3D printed air intake elbow, basically the tube that feeds air into the fuel controller, and it had collapsed in on itself, almost like somebody crushed a soda can. That collapse completely blocked the airflow, which is why the engine quit. So why did it fail? Simple, heat. Just the normal heat inside the engine bay. The pilot, or the person who sold the pilot this plane, had said that they bought the part in an air show, and the guy selling it claimed it was made of carbon fiber ABS, which has a glass transition temperature of around 105 Celsius, which sounds pretty decent on paper, until the AAIB tested it. When the lab checked the actual material, the glass transition wasn't 105 Celsius, it was around 53 Celsius. And that's basically PLA territory. The kind of temperatures where your prints start warping just sitting in your hot car. Absolutely not something you put anywhere near an airplane engine. And it gets worse. The official cozy design from the aircraft calls for a thin aluminum tube inside that inlet section. That piece is there specifically to stop the duct from collapsing under the heat and suction. This 3D printed part, no aluminum, no reinforcement, just bare plastic. I never had a chance. Now, to understand why this part failed, you've got to remember what an engine bay is actually like. It's not exactly a gentle place. It's hot, it's loud, everything vibrates, and temperatures swing all over the place. You've got radiant heat coming off the exhaust, pressure changes as the plane just moves through the air, random hot spots, constant shaking, fuel vapors, and temperatures that regularly sit between 80 and 120 Celsius. And that's before you get near the hot pipes. And here's something that has to be said. The pilot or the previous owner never listed this 3D printed part in the modification paperwork to the aviation authorities. And that means the inspectors, the people who are supposed to catch unsafe parts, didn't even know it was there. No review, no engineering check, nothing. Aviation has strict processes for a reason. Patrick, our CEO and founder, deals with this all the time flying helicopters. All the paperwork, the inspections, the testing. A lot of the time it feels over the top, but it's meant to keep people alive. When someone quietly installs a hobby-grade plastic part into that system, all of those layers of safety disappear. And honestly, this is bigger than just one airplane accident. People all over the place, in aviation, in cars, in powersports, they're printing parts out of ABS, PLA, PETG, nylon, even carbon fiber versions of those materials. And then they're throwing them into engine bays, fuel systems, undercarriages, intake paths, turbo plumbing, everywhere they probably shouldn't go. We get messages all the time from people that are printing intake tubes and turbo couplers and ABS, and while that may work for a while, I'm like, guys, like, what are you doing? There's better options that aren't that much of a stretch to get to. This crash is just the extreme version of the same lesson. Hobby plastics don't belong in mission-critical environments, ever. Now, this is exactly why we focus on real engineering materials here at Vision Miner. Things that are actually designed to live in harsh, high-temperature environments. Materials like PEEK, ULTEM, PEI, PPSU, PEC, or carbon-reinforced PEC and PEEK and all these things, right? These plastics were literally made for a world where temperatures are sitting between 150 and 250 Celsius constantly. There's fuel and oil everywhere. Vibration literally never stops. Flame resistance actually matters, like UL94V0. And failure just cannot be an option. And that's why we built the 22 IDEX the way we did. A true high temp system with a heated chamber, hardened components, and the ability to print the exact materials that aerospace and automotive industries rely on. Not airshow ABS or bamboo CFPLA, actual qualified engineering polymers. And this is how we work, even on Patrick's helicopters. We over-engineer everything on purpose. We made a taillight piece that realistically probably could have been PLA, but instead we used carbon fiber PEEK because it's one of the strongest, safest polymers on the planet. We made AC ducts, these AC ducts that somebody might have totally printed in ABS. Not that big a deal, right? It sticks on the outside of the helicopter, you attach your tubes. What's the big deal? Well, this part is going to last forever. It's never gonna melt, crack, or weaken over time in that environment. It's overkill for a reason. We printed an amperage current sensor that mounts inside an airplane engine bay, and we did it at an Ultim 9085 because that's proper. Meanwhile, the other guy out there, he did the same thing in PLA, and we have videos on how we did all of these and showing you the whole process, but dude, if that guy's part melts or fails and then like drops that amperage sensor down into a pulley or an alternator belt, the outcome could literally be catastrophic. The guy could die. Even the small things. We printed a headset mount for inside the cabin out of PPS carbon fiber. Total overkill. But they'll last forever and they're not gonna fail when you least expect it. And just to be clear, the plane that crashed and the helicopters that we work on, they're not military helicopters, they're registered under the experimental category, which means they have different rules than fully certified civilian aircraft and they can use custom-made parts. But even with that freedom, we still choose the safest materials possible because good enough is never good enough on something that flies. And this lesson isn't just for pilots. If you're printing parts for your car or your motorcycle or your snowmobile, then really anything that's gonna see heat or vibration or load, the same rules apply. ABS softens, nylon has creep, PETG sags, PLA straight up dies the moment it sees real heat. A lot of people get lucky because their part's gonna fail in a parking lot instead of at 500 feet on a short final approach to the airport. Now, a lot of these parts that you guys are doing, throwing in the engine bays and everything, it's probably not going to be catastrophic. But the moment we start getting into the lower control arms and suspension parts and things of that nature, and that fails on the freeway, think about it. Use an appropriate material and printer to make that part. Now, this accident was tragic, but it's also a big wake-up call. Thank God nobody died. If you're printing real functional parts, use the right materials, use the right equipment, and understand that not all plastics are created equal. One bad part nearly cost a man his life, and it destroyed his entire aircraft. And that's exactly why we exist here at Vision Miner, to help people choose real engineering materials, print them correctly, and avoid disasters like this. Stay safe out there, guys, and let's learn the right lessons from this one. At Vision Miner, we specialize in industrial performance functional materials for FDM. We also have the SLS and SLA, as well as 3D scanners and all that to help you pick and choose the right methods for making whatever it is you're making. So give us a call, shoot us an email, pick up the phone. We're here to help. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a positive rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next video.